Good morning, IG. This is your man, Julius DC Bryant, photographer. I want to wish everybody a healthy um, pandemic vacation. Hopefully, that you're staying creative or keeping your mind free from hysteria. Doing something fun to distract you from the madness that's going outside. Try not to watch a lot of the news. Binge on TV shows, play video games with your friends, call, video chat. Um, do happy shit. Just keep your mind focused. Think about what you want to do when all of this shit is open. I highly recommend, if you have the money and the funds for it, the extra cash that's on the side, find a cheap flight, go someplace you've never been before. And I know that includes flight and wherever you're staying, but go visit a family member out of town. Buy a cheap ticket and go. Get the hell out of the city, or do something different, change the pace. Anyway, I just want to do this rant because while we're on this stay, I've been conversing with associates and people who want to work with me in the whole 9 yards, and I want to give a little history for some who don't know my background. I am first and foremost a photographer here in New York City, but that is a title that's one of the many titles that I hold. My background, basically, believe it or not, comes from the music industry. I am music first. Like, it's the epicenter of my passion and my love. Photography. Oh, this shirt is making me so big. Photography happened to be a hobby that turned into a profession. Literally, wasn't something I pursued. I would start at high school. You have to take art classes to graduate, and I can't draw or color for shit. I'm being completely honest with you. And not to fail, the only other option to get an art credit was photography. I need a personal trainer to remove all of this. I'm throwing it out there. Um, Anyway, so I played around with it back and forth. I used it while I was working at a record label. I was at a record label for about 3.5 years, and my division was artist development. Hence, is the reason why I'm able to see great talent through the most mundane or bland photo, or see somebody in the street, which I really don't solicit in the streets, and tell somebody that, oh, you have not potential, but you have an it factor that's not hidden. I have the knowledge and the know-how of how to bring that out in people, whether they are an aspiring model just trying to get started into the industry, or models who are signed in the industry. So that is basically my background. It started, doing back and forth, picking up the camera, putting the camera, picking it up, and going back down. And once I got to Miami, I started shooting more. I did more freelancing for a lot of the labels down there, shooting more of their recording celebrities. And my phone is ringing. I don't know who's calling me from Maine, so I'm not going to answer it. Let me decline because I don't know anybody in Maine. And so anyway, I've taken those skills from arts development and to start helping with shooting celebrities, album covers. My work has been published in Source Magazine, Vibe Magazine. Um, just shooting that way. I've gotten a chance to develop and help a lot of models in Miami get their career started. Um, Once I moved back to New York, it was more or less, I didn't want to do anything with the music industry. The entertainment industry has its ups and downs. Basically, I didn't even go to school for it. My first major in college was pre med, but I ended up getting my degree in secondary education, English and history. I taught for 1 year. And just to give that background, so you know, I did not go to school for this artistry or pursuing any entertainment industry. Um, Outside of that, between back and forth with doing stuff in the industry, I could relate to aspiring artists because I was one myself. I wanted to be, believe it or not, an actor, singer, musician. Um, I've done my stints in plays and television, and I'm not one for the public. You know how people are about. I want to be a celebrity. I want to be seen. I want to be known, and that's not even now with the social media and how everybody wants to be Instagram famous or famous. Period. That's always been there. So that's been a blueprint of the human DNA for as long as I know it. Anyway, so just want to say good morning. I'm having my cup of tea. Oh, Yes, in my Wendy mug, because my sister, whose name I will not mention, came to my house and has taken one. So, anyway, yeah. So, getting back to this. So, when I left Miami, moved back to New York in 2010. I didn't want to do anything in the industry. So, came back, and there was a profile. I'm not even sure if it's still activated, to be honest with you. It was called Model Mayhem. I followed a couple of photographers who shot and worked with people I was very familiar with. Just got some tips on it. Started to network and just put up my profile. Now, listen, everybody as photographers, and this is my thing to aspiring photographers and beginner photographers or GWCs, a guy or a girl with a camera. If you want to take photography seriously, I highly recommend you to study the craft. Just don't get a camera and start shooting your friends, because it's just so much more than just having a camera and shooting somebody. It's knowing angles, it's knowing lighting, it's knowing what your vision in your head, what's the end game, because it's going to take two to make that picture, that photo, that story come to life. Just the photographer. It's the model, the story, the subject, the mood that you're setting. And it's stuff I had to learn. So I networked with a few people. I did some shoots. Of course, it wasn't like, pay me for it. Of course not. I was like, come on, I got basic lights, cloth backdrop. I was going on top of a top floor of a brownstone that had yellow walls, so I had to invest in stuff. I got a chance to network with a couple of photographers, and one photographer who I want to get, he knows who he is. I want to give credit to, who's helped me a great deal in terms of lighting. I followed their work. I consider him a friend and a mentor, because whether he knows it or not, he's helped me a great deal. And the compliment that has given to me about that my lighting has surpassed theirs was a major, 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 major compliment to me. And I don't want to have what a lot of photographers have, a signature look. I know if you work with me, I guess people can see the work, like, because there are times I've shot things and I don't recognize my own work when, especially if you don't credit or tag. But anyway, so the more I start to evolve, I was able to, I guess I was doing more photography, not so much as to practice the craft, but to help aspiring models break into the industry and educate them of what to work on, what to do, and how to build, and not to be in a rush to get into this industry, to learn your lane. I will never wear red again because it makes me look so big. Um, Shout out to all my personal trainers out there. Please help. I'm just saying it again. Personal trainer. And trust me, people are like, you can do it yourself. No, you can't. I know, deviating from it. So anyway, I want to bring this up in terms of where things are evolving now. I just want to give a small background of me. So meeting people off of Model Mayhem, developing, I've discovered a lot of faces who are in the public eye. I could do a bunch of name dropping, but that's not my thing. Those who are in my circle know whose careers I've actually helped start. And the thing about being a photographer or a manager or an agent or artist developer, we the people behind the scenes who help develop and mold you to get into the public eye. It's the ones who are there from day one, or day two, who was there in the beginning before you became world known, face on billboards and magazines and TV shows and whatever. We're the unsung heroes. We're the forgotten ones. And I'm a very humble individual. Um, I love what I do because I do it with a passion. Um, and I constantly make these IGTV informative um, clips to help others through my experiences. I'm not going through hearsay and all of that. So I just wanted to give these tips to aspiring models, photographers, people who are breaking in the entertainment industry in general. And my rant today, and I like to always call it a rant because that's what it is basically giving you the pros and cons of this industry. I mean, we're on a break, so what more could you have to do? It gives me time to think of what's the next plateau and what's going to be the next chapter I want to get involved into. So with that being said, so the more I'm thinking about this, um, I've done a lot of research and I've been speaking to a lot of aspiring models who want to work with me, and a lot of people want to work with me once I'm done, once we're off of this hiatus. And again, I made a few episodes ago, you can go check out my IGTV, that photographers have a choice of who they want to work with. Same way, agencies pick their photographers, model managers pick their photographers. Here's my only thing for me in my experience. Since breaking into the fashion world, I will say this to a lot of people, and I've said it. People who've worked with me closely and know me know I'm not about fashion. You can tell. Um, this is not even, is it a polo shirt? I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not into the fashion situation. Never have been, never will be. I'm a really basic dude. I find going to fashion shows, I go for the humor. People say, oh, listen, if you ever gone to New York Fashion Week, you will realize it's not about the show. It's about the clowns that get dressed up all abstract. Um, just to be seen on the front row or to be seen, because you're waiting more in line than you are going to see a show. The shows last 15 minutes maximum. Some may last 20, depending on if it's a showcase of different designers. That may go for 45 minutes to an hour. But if it's just one show, you're online and hobnobbing way longer than you are in the show. So, just throwing it out there. I find it to be very funny how extra the patrons and the spectators who come to these shows are than the design and the designers. Because the designers, listen, this is the work they're putting out their blood, sweat, and tears, and you'll see them come out. Some don't even walk the runway. They'll wave and turn around. They're dressed in black. They're dressed in basic stuff. And that's their thing. So anyway, I've never been into the fashion world, and it's not my thing. But I do say this: I enjoy, mainly for me, helping develop new faces breaking into the industry and helping make their dreams come true. Now, what I don't like, and I've always said this before, and I'll make it even more vocal about it, is I don't like what's been happening since I've gotten into it. It's probably been happening for decades, way before I brought it to it. But to my eye, I don't like the sexualization of black male models, or even black female models, but majority black male models. Um, and people don't understand, especially for black male models, you're going into an industry that, let's be real, is sexist because, first of all, it's it's a woman's industry, and men were eventually allowed in the late 80s. Now you might have male models who were male models that did it in the 70s, but majority of the male models that worked in the industry then were openly gay guys that had no threat dealing with women. I highly recommend the movie Gia with Angelina Jolie. Very, very good movie. Angelina Jolie, Faye Dunaway, very good movie. It just gives you a truly insight in this industry. And apparently nothing has changed. Just like the music, well, the music industry has changed a great deal. But from my research of what the industry is in fashion and the world of modeling, it's a blueprint that they're constantly following over and over and over and over again. And my tip to aspiring male models, aspiring black male models, ask a lot of questions. Okay. My pet peeves is that um, it's not about sexuality. I'm just tired of the openly gay men, whether they're white, black, Latino, Asian, taking advantage of the naivete of people who are too hungry, who want to get into this industry, and telling you what you need to do to become famous. First of all, it's called fame and fortune. Are you going to make a living, and are you going to be respected in this industry? That's something that's really need to be considered. Fame comes like that, and it ends like that. Can you make a constant living? Find out who's the longest running male model that's out there. He's a white guy that's in his 40s. Okay. Is there a top black male model outside of Tyson Beckford, who was not signed to an agency, was exclusively signed to Ralph Lauren? So then the name brand ambassador wasn't used, but that's exactly what he was. He was solely signed to the brand of Ralph Lauren Polo. And I highly recommend that if you want to break into it in this industry, don't be in a rush to get signed to an agency, because all you're going to do is be a part of the shuffle until you become a cash cow. And when you become a cash cow, the owners and the bookers will know your name. Otherwise than that, you're just a face. You're going to be constantly calling. And then on top of that, know the business. Know this fucking business, because it is a business, people. And this is for men and women getting signed. Don't give a shit about your ethnicity at this point. It's a business. One thing that models don't ask is, Okay, you're being told or being sent an email in a request. You want to see in the email who's requesting you, the date and time, whether it's a direct booking, which means you got the job immediately. If it's a go see, which means they want to see you, test you out, they have a couple of other considerations, but you are considered into it. Or it's an open call. Like, they want to see you and a bunch of other people and they'll figure it out. Same thing as a go see. So when you're talking to your agent, your manager, your booker, and it's a paid job, okay, just know prior to getting signed, ask the questions: how does payment work if I'm getting booked for a paid job? They should honestly tell you that it takes 30 to 90 days maximum because of, depending on the project. You have to also think about when, if it's a big shoot for a magazine or something like that, and it's 5 grand or more. They're paying photographers, they're paying sets, they're paying production, and then of course the model's gonna be the last one, and then it goes from the client's hands to the agency's hands, and when it hits the agency's bank and the check clears, then if it's an honest agent and booker, they'll tell you, hey, come on in, pick up your payment, the whole 9 yards, you sign it, whatever. But also, what agencies don't like to explain to models is that you have an account. And this account is basically when you get officially signed to an agency. It's about 5 or 7 pages, and it's giving you about terms, your responsibility, the agent's responsibility. If I and if either one is not comfortable in a particular period of time, basically 6 months, if you're feeling, well, I'm here for half a year and not much is going on, you write a letter or an email and let them know that, within the next few months, if nothing's going on, I'd like to drop, because come on, within 6 months they should know whether or not you're workable or not. So give me a second. This is so good. Ginger, lemon, and one of my favorite teas, Earl Grey, for the early morning. So anyway, and so with your account, you're being charged for being on the website. Yeah, maintenance. You're being charged for the portfolio. You're being charged for your composite cards or comp cards. You're being charged, and I'm gonna be so real with this. You're being charged for whenever they send you out for a test shoot with the photographer, and majority of the times they're not paying the photographers, because I've shot for several agencies and they're charging models a fee that we're not getting. Okay, so when I shoot for agencies, when I've gotten my momentum up going and I've shot for several agencies and I'm being requested, I'm sending you my rates. Okay, now don't get me wrong. I've shot, free to build a relationship in the beginning. I'll give you 5 or 6 models, period. And then after you send me after that, come on. I'm sending you my invoice. This is the deal. This is what we have. Even have to do a contract. That's what it should come down to. That's from the photographer's perspective. But models, be aware, for you to make a living and turn this into a business, they need you or your faces to push. Okay, so it's a supply and demand. The agents are the middle ground people who are just headhunters. Let's be real. Modeling agencies are headhunters to supply and demand for the brands that need a face to represent them that can sell to their demographics. Whether if it's a white suburban neighborhood, they want to have white people on the billboard or in their magazines or on their ads, blah, 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 and all of that. But even with models of color, whether you're black, Latino, whatever, you don't have to, please, 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 you do not have to do urban. Okay, if you have what is considered e-commerce commercial look that's relatable to the masses, no matter what your ethnicity, that's the lane you should get into, because commercial pays and commercial pays lovely. Now, here's my thing. I've shot for a few agencies who I'm very vocal about it, and people take it too personal. I've helped a lot of models get signed, and once they got signed, their agents, their bookers, their mother agents don't like me. I don't. For me, it's not personal. I'm like, you have to forget. First of all, you would not know this model or these models if it wasn't for me. And we photographers, going back to the unsung part, are the ones who's doing the jobs that agencies should be doing. We're developing you, and yet we don't get the credit. We're definitely not making the money for it. And look where we shoot. We shoot in either small studios, or majority of the times we're shooting in our homes. We got great looks, we got great lighting. It's an investment. And, and when we get hit up by aspiring models who are not signed and they want to do a collab, first of all, you new people, if you want quality work and you're hitting up a quality photographer, expect to pay. Because if it was a white photographer, I'm being real with you, you're willing to give up your rent to make sure, oh, I shot with so and so. Fuck the bullshit. We all do the work, and it's a pain in the ass to do the work, and then you're bothering us about when can I see the photos, when can I get the pictures back. Every photographer has a different work ethic. You ask these questions way before you shoot. What's the return? How many edits do I get? And actually, I should be in your photographer's agreement. I mean, I do a photographer's agreement. I don't know about anybody else. So you understand what you're getting into, so you know what you're investing. And then when you put your deposit in, the agreement is binding, you know. So basically, I don't want to keep you guys too long because this is, oh, wow. Just know this. This is a long video, but I just want to say, respect the industry, learn the industry that you're getting into, and embrace it. If it's knowing it's for you, it's a learning process over and over and over again. Just because you've been established for about 2, 3 years or 4 years in this industry, you're still learning. Okay, build a trust factor. Ask a lot of questions, and that's my notes to you. I'm your man, Julius DC Bryan, photographer here on Instagram. Be safe, be healthy. Peace.